Welcome to Vintage Tech, the show where we talk about old technology that are popular, recognized or obscure. Now, for this video, we'll be talking about one of the most interesting pieces of ancient tech in history. The Speak and Spell. Now, this one, well, it looks like kids' toys. It's actually a learning tool that teaches kids how to spell. And this one really revolutionized an entire business. And by that I mean how things changed throughout the world. Now, I would start history, but this will be a very simple episode. So, why don't we start with how it was introduced?
The development of the Speak and Spell was led by Paul Breedlove and a small team of engineers at Texas Instruments. It was introduced at the 1978 Summer Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, Nevada. The Speak and Spell became one of the earliest handhelds to have interchangeable cartridges. More on them later. The Speak and Spell also have some sister devices, such as Speak and Read and the Speak and Math. But for this video, we will be talking about the Speak and Spell, as in the original one from the 1970s. But the one I will be using is the 1980s redesign with the membrane keyboard.
Okay, yeah! Nowadays, Texas Instruments is known for these calculators these days. Now, I would talk about technical specs and dimensions, but since I'm going to make it a really simple episode, I think I'll let some text do the talking right now. Now, why don't we just demonstrate it, shall we? Okay, so here we have is the Speak and Spell itself. Now, there's something that you should notice. For one, the keys are in an ABC arrangement instead of the usual QWERTY. Well, it may seem odd by today's standards, but back then, kids did not have access to an actual touch typing QWERTY keyboard, so I guess they should teach kids how to type before learning how to type. You see, in addition to these keys, notice that the vowels are colored yellow. We have off, go, replay, repeat, clue, mystery word, secret code, letter, say it, and spell, which also was the yawn. Then we have this apostrophe, this pound key, more on that later, erase, and enter, useful for the spell. On the front, we have a front-facing speaker, and those are actually the VFD keys. That's a VFD screen, actually. And then we have a handle, which is useful for carrying the Speak and Spell around. Then, on the back, we have one of those battery compartments. And, shockingly, it's one of those that requires a coin to open. Or a screwdriver. Now, notice this one takes 4 C-cell batteries. Because, well, the VFD screen was powerful. Oh, and by the way, this is a ROM cartridge. More on that later. Anyway, how the speech works, though, is that it actually... Let's try out spell functionality. Is that every time you enter a key, yeah, that's how the speech works. I'm not sure what powers the Speak and Spell, so I think I'll let that disembodied head of me do the talking. Now, if you want to know the amount of words, you better check the instruction manual. A PDF will be in the link in the description.
In addition to the built-in words, you can also buy additional ROM cartridges that contain more words. They are called word modules. The slot where the cartridges go is hidden in the battery compartment, which means you need to take the batteries out before you insert or remove a cartridge. However, while putting the cartridge into the slot is easy, getting them out is very tough. In fact, the B-roll footage where I put the cartridge in is recorded before I recorded the audio.
Now, if you want to activate the module, you just press this pound key. And that will give the Speak and Spell access to more words. Now, let's try the different modes it has. S-E-E-L-L. Of course, the real star to Speak and Spell.
Spell, yes.
It's to spell the words. You get 10 words to spell, and you got to spell them correctly. And this one's heard before is guess.
Yes.
So let's spell it out.
G-U-E-S-S. That is correct.
Good, first try.
Spell oven.
Oh, that's it.
O-V-E-N. You are correct. Next, spell swap.
That,
S-W-A-P. That is right. Now try calf. C-A-S-H. Wrong.
Ugh.
Try again. Calf.
yeah.
C-A-L-F.
That's,
You are right. Try ocean.
that, I know.
Q.
Oops.
O-C-E-A-N. That is correct. Now spell earth. E-A-R-T-H. You are correct.
Good.
Next, spell word.
Now, if you get a word wrong, like I did with calf, you actually got a second chance, but won't.
R-D. That is right. Now try sure.
That's good.
S-U-R-E. You are right. Try answer. A-N-S-W-E-R. That is correct. Now spell one as in one word. O-N-E. You are correct.
I got 9 correct.
Score. 9 correct. 1 wrong.
Yeah. Oh, one quick thing! If you're noticing any flickering, that is actually my camera! It actually looks better in person, but not on camera! Just to put that disclaimer out of the way, so please ignore it.
M-Y-S-T-E-R-Y-W-O-R-D.
Of course, we have the mystery word, which is similar to hangman, is that you have to guess correctly. Now, this one's a 7-letter word. Now, the speaking zone can, the maximum letter count for the words the speaking can remember is 8. Let's try it. I? Nope.
E.
Uh-uh.
A. O. U. P. Q. R. B. I win.
Well, let's try again.
I.
Yes.
E.
Yep.
P.
Pie?
O. S. T. U. F. D. C.
Pisces.
R. You win.
Pierce! Yeah, got it! Phew. Now, I need to demonstrate the word module.
P. A. K. U. M.
Now, I don't think this is one to word.
R. E.
Measure!
You win.
Yes! Now, I think that's one of the words present in one of the word modules, but I may be wrong.
S-E-C-R-E-T-C-O-D-E.
Okay, now this one's a really interesting one. It's called secret code. Let me type a neat word here.
R-A-I-C-H-E-L.
Yep, if you press enter, it creates a scrambled word. Now, and how it works is that you actually have to write it on a piece of paper. If you were in school in the 80s, you give it to a friend, if they have speaking with that, so that way they can use their speaking spell, they don't scramble the words. It's kind of like the Enigma machine. If you want to know how to work, I recommend you check out this video by Jared Olson. Link is in the description, by the way. Now, I wonder what letter does.
R-E-E-D.
It's like secret code.
A.
It's like secret code, but it just starts with a letter. And now we have say it. You actually have to say the words with the speak and spell. And it's gonna teach kids how to pronounce the words correctly. Alright. Well, guess that's it for the speak and spell. Now, as a note for collectors, which one you should start with? The one I have is this one. Now, before I actually get to the actual explanations, you can find speak and spells for very cheap online.
However, if you're a collector, keep in mind that there are differences in the keyboard. The earliest ones from the late 1970s have raised keys, and that's the one seen in the movie E.T. the Extraterrestrial. The one from the 1980s have a membrane keyboard, which is more common, and it's the one seen in this video, mentioned in the beginning. In addition, there's also a compact version of the speak and spell that lacked a screen and a handle. And finally, in the late 1980s, there's the Super Speak and Spell, which did away with the VSD screen and the ABC keyboard in favor of an LCD screen and a more common QWERTY-style keyboard. If you are having trouble finding a used Speak and Spell, don't worry. As of 2019, Basic Fun re-released the 1980s toy, but that version has some alterations, as seen in this episode of the 8-Bit Guy, released on New Year's Eve of 2021.
Alright. Now, one common thing the speak and spell is used for today is circuit bending. It is often used by musicians to create their own songs. In fact, one artist, Beck, actually used it to make one of his songs, which I'll show on the screen right now. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is this. We have a headphone jack and a port for an optional AC adapter. You know, just in case if you don't want to use the batteries. Now, this episode was a lot more simple to do. I just needed one speak and spell. I had the raised keys or the membrane keyboard. I actually got the latter. And funny enough, the seller actually supplied the word module, which saves me some time and money. And guess what seller also put in? The original, the box. And you can see on the back, now this one's been vandalized, so, oh, it's owned by someone, Robin Davey. Yeah, these boxes are really ancient. Now, does Texas still own rights to spell? The answer is no. They actually sold the rights to the sound chip for the speak and spell to another company. Now, before I end this video, I got some bad news. The USB UltraFit flash drive I used to transfer videos, and also that contained my first videos of 2022, unfortunately disappeared without a trace. And I was in a total panic attack when that happened. I didn't realize this until I was about ready to transfer some B-roll footage. So, unfortunately, I actually transferred some of the B-roll footage to the OneDrive. Looks like I'm back to editing videos from importing them from the SD card into the Magics. Now, fortunately, while making the DS episode, I bought one of these SD to USB adapters that contains both USB-A and micro USB as well, and USB-C. Now, looks like I'm gonna revert back. I may buy a new flash drive in the future. Anyway, with that being said, this is the end of this episode of VintageTech. Next episode, we will be talking about the Atari 2600, the console that revolutionized modern gaming and ironically almost destroyed it. I'll see ya later.